Hey guys, welcome back. We are here to do a tier list for Marvel Rivals Season 1. This tier list isn't your normal tier list. This is only for Platinum rank and below. You might be asking, why is this for Platinum and below? What's so different about Diamond? You know, there's a couple things. First of all, Diamond has bans. So some of these heroes, Hela, Hawkeye, you're just never going to see them in ranked. It's very rare that you'll play these above Diamond. Hulk is also one of them that you're not going to see. A lot of the reason for that is his combo with Iron Man. Another reason is teammates and coordination. Some heroes just require more coordination to be good. Moon Knight's pretty good. He's a lot better if there's a Groot that ults with him. So, you know, we're going to take into account what coordination, teammates, ultimates, and general skill level of someone who's below plat. And we're going to make a tier list because I think it's important for you to know which heroes are good in your rank. And it's not that you can't play these heroes and do well. It's just a lot easier if you play certain heroes. That being said, let's get into it. And if you could hit the like, comment, subscribe button if you like this video, that would be very helpful. And let me know if you disagree with any of these. And this tier list is based on my experiences as a Diamond player now, and what I've seen work and what I haven't seen work in the lower elos. That being said, let's begin. So we have Adam Warlock. Overall, he's not really picked as often. The resurrection catches a lot of people off guard, especially in low elo, even his teammates. So I'm going to put him in B tier because he's hard to use and teammates don't really capitalize on the resurrections as much as they should. They don't do things like saving their ults for the res, things like that. He requires a lot of coordination, actually. We'll do Black Panther next. I know that in higher elos, he is a terror and a menace. However, in lower elos, he is pretty difficult to be effective with. I'm sure you've had that Black Panther that goes in and dies and doesn't do a single thing. For that reason, I will be putting him in C tier. That's from someone who actually plays Black Panther mainly. It is not easy to be good with him in lower tiers when you're not that great at the character yet. Okay, and now we have Black Widow. She got a lot of buffs. I think normally I would put her at D tier, but just because she got some buffs, I'm gonna have to put her in D tier again because she requires so much aim. The average plat, gold, silver, God forbid your bronze, the average aim down there, like you are actually doing nothing on this. Just do yourself a favor because she can't even like spam tanks with her. She just doesn't do enough damage. She's a very high skill requirement character. You know, things might change for her if she could guaranteed one-shot headshot some support characters. I could see her shooting up to maybe B tier at that point because you only need one really good pick. But as it stands, it's really not easy to get a one-shot. Her effectiveness she's a D tier. There's nothing we can do. Next up is Bruce Banner. You know, he cannot be banned like he usually is in Diamond and above. So, you know, in Diamond, if he gets through, he's an S tier. He's a little more difficult to make work in lower elos just because you need some coordination as you go in as Hulk. You know, you need CCs. Teammates may not capitalize on the fact that you are now a giga tank. So I'm actually going to put him down here with Adam Warlock. I'm not going to factor in the team up bonus because it is low elo with low coordination. He's not a hard hero to play. However, teammates will decide whether or not you get the most value from him with the team up from Strange and Iron Man. So he's B tier. Captain America. You know, he has sort of the same problem as Hulk. They did buff him And if I'm being honest, I kind of want to put him in C tier because he's a kind of an ambiguous hero of when you should be going in, when you should be going out. Your team may not understand what you're doing on Captain America because his kit isn't like, aside from his ult, when we're going in, it's not clear what he does for the rest of the team, especially when you consider that they're going to be a little lower elo. They might be third time playing their character. They need clear cues on when it's time to go and when it's time to leave. So yeah, we'll put him in C tier. Again, let me reiterate, this tier list is meant to help you climb out of low elo and make it to diamond. All right, and we have another support, Cloak and Dagger. She is at first a little bit complex, but I think with even just a couple games on her and maybe a YouTube video, because of how easy it is to aim on her both for healing and for damaging, we can put her in A tier. Honestly, I think she belongs in S tier. Her ult is the only thing that was making me think to maybe put her at A tier, because believe it or not, even if you tell your teammates to step on the dark blue ultimate on the ground, they will avoid it because it looks like something dangerous. If you're a Cloak and Dagger player, you know this happens all the time. So I will put her in S tier with the hope that your teammates step on your ult. She also received some pretty good buffs this patch. So Dr.Strange, he is going to go in S tier. And I don't think I have to really explain why. Even though he got a little bit nerfed this patch with Season 1, he is so easy for a team to rally around, and they understand, oh, shields up, we're a little safer. Shields down, we're not safe. I just heard Dr. Strange say something about Agamotto. Everyone's frozen. It's super easy. His ult is very indicative. Portals, everyone understands what a portal is. You go in it, you go out. And on top of that, you can guide your team on where to be correctly. So overall, there's nothing bad I can say about Dr. Strange. S tier hero for climbing to diamond. If you play him, you almost cannot fail. Another tank, we have Groot. Some would say Groot's S tier. Unfortunately, I don't agree for low elo. I think he actually... Oh man, I want to put him in B tier, but I don't think it's fair to put him with Hulk. I'm going to put him in A tier because he takes a lot of damage. And unless your healers are laser focused on you, there's too many opportunities where a Groot can get caught out of balance and his healers are either busy with something. All he has is a wall to protect himself, which, it's really easy to use. His ult's really easy to use. And it's just the one thing about him getting caught out and not getting heals in low elo is the reason why we're putting him in A tier instead of S tier. Okay, and now we have Hawkeye. I know it's contentious. He is broken in Diamond Plus, but I will say in Platinum, he's probably an S tier. In Gold and Silver, he's probably an A tier or B tier. But in Bronze, my lord, I have seen some things. Hawkeye is actually difficult to aim with for some of the people in these helos. If you are one of the people who is missing shots all the time, you may be the one causing him to be in C tier, but we're going to put him at A tier. The reason we're putting him in A tier is because he is very forgiving. Even though people can miss, it's a very forgiving arrow for getting headshots. You're going to kill people, whether you mean to or not. If you play Hawkeye, sometimes if they're in a group, you just shoot an arrow out and you kill someone, and that turns the entire fight. Not many heroes have that kind of, just release a button and the fight's won. He does. So congrats. I'm not even going to talk about his ultimate or whatever his abilities are. If you play Hawkeye, you have a very good chance of just getting straight to diamond with just I'm gonna say it's minimal effort. There's a reason that he is permabanned in Diamond. Next up, Hela. She is a very similar offender. If it wasn't for how good her ultimate is in just team fights in general and escaping, she would be in B tier, because aiming with her is a little bit difficult. You have to hit your headshots, you have to hit your body shots. It is hit scan, but after reviewing some VODs of silvers and bronzes and watching the Helas, they are missing a lot of shots. So the skill level down there, you know, sometimes you have aim gods. We're not talking about the aim gods. We're talking about your average player and what kind of success you're going to find with Hela. Yeah, she's up here at A tier. And, oh, I lied. She's B tier. Oh, no. But her ultimate, you know what? It's the ult. Okay, we're going to put her in A tier. And the reason is because her ultimate is extremely strong. And her kit is extremely simple. Iron Fist. Now, if you can understand when to go in with this hero, then you will probably find a lot of success. You might even be an S tier for below Diamond, but most Iron Fists end up somewhere where Bruce Banner is, in B tier. And that's because they just stay in too long, and it's really hard to find that balance between harassing the backline properly and then escaping, and harassing a little too long or missing something and dying. So he kind of has the same problem as Black Panther, but not quite, where Black Panther's job specifically is to threaten the healers. He's kind of the same way. But Black Panther's a little harder to escape if you mess up. Iron Fist, you know, if you mess up, you can still get out. Next up is Iron Man. I probably should put him at S tier. And we're going to put him in S tier. The reason being is you need less skill to shoot someone with Iron Man than they do to hit you. So once in a while you'll find a good Hela and you may have to switch off of him. But for the most part, it's going to be smooth sailing for you if you decide to play a lot of Iron Man in low elo, at least until you get to maybe high plat. It'll start falling off because people will get more skilled. And if you don't get more skilled at like your angles and where you're hiding, really just how much damage you can put out, yeah, he'll fall a little bit, but we're going to keep him in S tier because he's just really easy to use right now. Not to mention, he does have good team up bonuses. We're not going to factor that in necessarily right now because you may be playing in an uncoordinated teammate environment. You might be playing with people who have no idea that they should be playing Hulk with you, because then you get a huge damage boost. It's going to happen, but we're going to keep him in S tier. Jeff the Shark. He is actually S tier. I know nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to see it. But the fact that his ultimate, you can just wait until overtime or whatever and then use it and win the game. People are usually bunched up in low elo, and it's pretty much a free win. Whether it's defending a point or attacking a point, the Jeff ult into suicide off the map, I'm sure it's happened to you guys. It's just very easy to do. Straight to Diamond for Jeff. Now Loki belongs kind of in the same tier as Adam Warlock. You can do really good stuff with him. He has a lot of heals. That's great. He can do decent damage, but again, people may not understand what you're doing with him. They may not understand this is the fake you, this is the real you. I'm actually safe right now. They're attacking my clone. There's a lot of scenarios where playing Loki can actually confuse your own team. Surprisingly, in bronze and gold and silver and plat, people do not understand Loki at all. We're going to put him in B tier because he confuses people. Luna Snow. She goes straight to S tier. Super easy to play. Ultimate makes so much sense. Anyone knows what's happening. Stand in the music. You'll get healed. Very easy. You just hold left click on your tanks and put the orb on a DPS that's going in, and you just hold left click. Very easy. If things get dicey, press shift. Need I say more? This is very, very simple Luna Snow S. Magik is contentious. I truly had trouble knowing where to place her because the gap between a good Magik who's killing people and a bad Magik who's killing people and dying or just dying is quite high. I will put her in B tier because her kit requires you to understand range and it's too easy for her to get kited. Magneto, I will put him at S tier because he is a shield tank. Shield tanks are very easy for teams to understand. People will just gather. People will gather. When they use an ult that's pretty bad, you use your ult. It's really easy. You've nullified one of them and you probably killed another. Overall, he's kind of got the Strange effect, although he's a little more complicated for teams to play around. Mantis. I'm gonna put her up here with Luna Snow because her ultimate is very, very good, just like Luna. People may not understand your healing as much as they do Luna's healing. They definitely don't understand that you're the one giving them a damage boost, but she has the same effect as Luna where people just know what's happening. Their heals, when she ults, everyone gather. Super easy. Moon Knight. Very easy placement here. We're putting him in S tier because people don't kill your onks. They just don't. At low elo, they do not even try. If you put it on a wall, it's gonna be there the whole game. The only time people will kill it is if it's literally right in front of them on the floor and someone pings it twice. So yeah, he's just gonna stay in S tier. He does way too much damage and his ultimate kills through support ults, so you're just good to go. Play Moon Knight, get Diamond in 3 days. Oh boy, here we go with Namor. Namor is absolutely S tier. Aiming with him is not that hard. His octopuses will do 50% of your damage if you are a bad aimer. He counters flanks without even knowing that he's countering them. And his ultimate is very easy for people to see, understand, and act on. Like they see a big circle, the enemies are knocked down. Wow, we can kill them. Namor is definitely S tier. Next up is Penni. I would normally put her in S tier for Diamond. However, sometimes you are solo tanking, and a Penni solo tank is actually more difficult to pull off than you'd think. People just end up shooting you down, and your healers are usually busy with something else to really pocket you as much as you need as a solo Penni. So I will put her in A tier because she kind of has the same problem as Groot a little bit, where you're kind of getting shot and melted because your healers may not be as locked in as they should be. So you're just going to end up getting burned down. But if you do have a shield tank with you, I would put her in S tier. I just can't guarantee that you will, especially below Diamond. Psylocke. It's so difficult for me to put her somewhere, but she's definitely not as good as Hawkeye or Hela. So I will put her in Magik's tier, but she is definitely better than Magik. I will say that. We cannot say that these two are the same. Magik's ult is not as good. Psylocke's ult is amazing, especially because people just don't know that they can save a support ult, and they never do. Her kit's also pretty easy to use. Her dashes don't have any conditions really to them, unlike Black Panther, who has to hit a mark or else he's stuck. Psylocke can reliably, use a dash to get in and use a dash to get out if things get dicey. So I'll put her in B tier, but she's still way more difficult to use than Hawkeye and Hela. But you really can climb with her. Do not let this B tier. In fact, I'm going to put her at the very front of B tier, just so you know, she can get you straight to Diamond. You just got to pick up on a couple things. Punisher with a capital R. I just know that he's saying it, but we're definitely going to put him in A tier. Why? Because he recently got a buff that allows him to have much better spread, so he can actually handle things like Iron Man, things like Storm down here, and even to some degree Spiderman, but we'll get to that guy. His kit's super easy. His ult does incredible amount of damage. You don't even really have to aim that well with it. Overall, just extremely consistent, and he can react to what the team needs. So If there's a flanker, he can turn around and shoot that. If there's too many beefy tanks, he can just melt them down. Very easy. Very versatile. Easy to use. A tier for Punisher. I would only not put him at S tier because, again, he does require aim. And I know what the aiming is like for the average person below Diamond. Rocket Raccoon. The res is great. The ult, people don't really know what's happening, but they go in after they have the ult. Great. He's definitely not as good as Luna Snow or Mantis, but we can 100% put him in A tier. He's way better than Adam. He's way better than Loki right now. Again, below Diamond, Scarlet Witch. She got buffs, so she's actually able to DPS things down a little bit, but it's not quite enough. Her ult takes a little too long. Even people in gold and silver can react to it. So you're really better off playing other heroes. I still will put her above Magik. Magik she barely belongs in B tier. She really does. In fact, no, we'll leave her in B tier for now. Spiderman, an absolute nuisance S tier. If you're good at just flying around with him, you are not going to get hit at this elo. They're not going to know what to hit him. By the time they do, you're ulting. So I will put him in S tier just because he's so difficult to hit. Teams don't know what to do about him. Below Diamond, the floor is absolutely yours. Squirrel Girl. She would be in D tier if she didn't get the buffs, but she did get a couple buffs. So I can't put her above Black Panther. Her ultimate actually does things now, and I can see it wiping teams. So I will put her in B tier, but she is not better than Magik. But she's not quite as difficult to use as Black Panther. Captain America's a little ambiguous, so we will put her in B tier. Her kit just needs a little bit of work. Starlord, an amazing champion. I would just put him in S tier simply because his ultimate is so good, so easy to use. People, by the time you've killed someone, people realize what's happening. So you can usually kill at least one person, even if the supports have ult, because they just can't react in time. His kit's also super fluid. He has high damage, and the tracking like aim you have to do is really not difficult once you get the hang of it. Storm. She was just recently buffed, insanely actually. Right now, based on how it feels playing against storms, the buff helped her a lot. I actually will put her in A tier right after Punisher. I'm going to move Penni back a little bit further, but she's right up here with these three right now. She's a flying hero, so people have to aim at you up high. You can hide behind a lot of different objects while you're flying. That's part of the reason Iron Man is in S tier, but Storm being so maneuverable and her ult got a huge buff, you're going to see a lot more Storms climbing straight to Diamond. And now for Thor. He got a lot of buffs this patch. His ultimate is a lot better, but I would still put him in B tier. He's probably better than Squirrel Girl. I'll give him that, but I don't know. And simply because he's a tank, I will put him above all these other people, and he'll be right behind the Hulk. But truly, he still needs more in order to be a god. Especially at lower elos, without that shield, people just don't know exactly what to do with you. And I'm talking about your own teammates. They will not know. Are we retreating? Are we going in? Where's the shield? I usually look at tanks and they have a shield, so we'll put him in B tier. The Venom is surprisingly good. I actually put him above Groot for this elo because people don't really know what to do if you slam into their team. They might focus you for a little bit, but you can usually get out. They're not going to time the CC properly to interrupt your escape. You'll just have a decently good time, and his kit doesn't require insane learning curve. It's very easy. Swing in, press one button, get low, press another button, swing out. It's really easy. They also buffed his survivability, which, for the lower elos, he definitely didn't need, but yeah, so, you play Venom, decent chance you're getting to Diamond. Bucky, a vaguely complex champion, still much better than Psylocke, a little under Punisher, just because Punisher's way more consistent. Bucky still has crazy damage, and his ult goes wild when we're talking about how many times it can reset in a fight and how people just keep getting caught out by it. So definitely A tier. Wolverine is D tier. He's better than Black Widow. It's too difficult for teams to understand what you're doing on Wolverine. They're not prepared to kill the tank that you're grabbing. Yes, there are very good Wolverines. And yes, they do end up getting high elo. But if you're solo queuing in lower elos with Wolverine, chances are they only have one tank, you only have one target, and people are blasting you down as you're trying to get their tank. Because he's a tank shredder and people aren't running as many tanks in low elo. Mr. Fantastic. Now he's pretty new, and I haven't seen too much of him, but based on what I have seen and based on what I've practiced, he is far too ambiguous for the average low elo player to do well with him. If you practice with him, I can see him being easily an A tier character because enemies do not understand you either. So you can catch them off guard with your kit. You really can. But for the sake of how early it is and how people do not really understand what they're supposed to be doing with him, we're going to put him in C tier, but he is definitely still not as bad as Wolverine or Black Widow. And last but not least, we have Invisible Woman. She is probably S tier. Her ult makes perfect sense for your teammates to use. They just step into the circle and enemies are very confused on how they're supposed to deal with it. Do you leave the ult and do you just run away? Do you enter the ult and try to stall? Very difficult. She also has a lot of healing. I thought she wouldn't have as much. I thought she would be more focused on shields, but her heal output is actually really good. And her kit's pretty easy to understand. Plus, she can go invisible, which saves you every single team fight. And okay, you know what? For fun, I will speculate that Human Torch will be S tier because he is a flying character, and flying characters tend to be hard to hit. And this guy doesn't look like he has a shield, but I have a feeling he'll be tankier than Groot, and maybe it will be more clear to your healers that they should be healing you. So that is the tier list. If you have any questions or comments, if you disagree with the entire thing, let me know in the comments. Again, you just have to remember that this tier list is specifically for people below Diamond. I'm thinking about your average player and what they could be playing to rank up. And you just have to know that it's truly rough down there in the lower elos. Especially before you have bans to get rid of certain things like Hela and Hawkeye. Things are difficult. Not to mention you have a large skill disparity on who's good at aiming, who's good at callouts. Do people even know the maps? There's just a lot of things that are unknowns. So you want to pick heroes that have a very established kit and are very easy for everyone to understand, including your teammates. And if you want to catch me live, I stream at 10 p.m. Eastern time on twitch.tv/LPFlea on most weekdays. Feel free to check it out, or if you just want to join the Discord and just hang out with people, that's fine too. You can find that link on my stream page as well. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys next time.